What's going on YouTube? It's JSauce back again with another video, and today we're going over our draft recap of SPS Season 9 Articuno Division. And if you missed out, we won SPS Season 8 Zapdos Division, so we got promoted up to the big boy leagues. Well, not really, we're in the second lowest skill division, but I'm planning to run it back to back. We're spinning the block once again. If you don't know what Draft League is, basically everyone drafts 9 to 11 Pokemon, and you get faced up with a different opponent each week, and you bring what you believe to be the best 6 Pokemon, and your opponent does the same thing, and then you battle it out. Think of it as Pokemon mixed with fantasy football, but you have more control over what your Pokemon can do. Now, that being said, I had pick 6 out of 12 in the draft, which is dead middle, which is considered the worst spot to draft at. So I don't necessarily plan my drafts, but I had one Pokemon I want to really build around. So getting pick 6 really sucked because I couldn't get it on the wheel. It was whatever. It was kind of hard to plan what I really wanted. But luckily, 5 picks in, and no one has taken what is arguably disputed as the best Pokemon in draft, and that is Dragapult. Now, Dragapult is consistently known as one of the best Pokemon in draft, like I mentioned. It actually got taken first in all of the other 3 divisions, and for some reason it fell to pick 6 here. I guess people want to use other Pokemon. I've only used this Pokemon once, and it had a bad reputation because it was my only special attacker, really. But I think my draft really opens up Dragapult to do what it wants to do. Be a fast utility mon with the option of being a breaker both physically with Dragon Dance sets and even banded Dragon Darts, or especially with like Shadow Ball and Draco Meteor. Got Steel Wing back because it's Nat Dex, which is absolutely huge for the good fairies. You see something like a Mega Diancie, and Steel Wing is absolutely free. On top of that, it's got great status moves like Will-O-Wisp, Toxic, and Thunder Wave, as well as Hex to maximize the effects of those statuses. On top of that, it's got U-turn so it can pivot out. It's got some pretty decent coverage. Some weird stuff you wouldn't think, like Thunderbolt and Hydro Pump, Flamethrower, all of which are pretty good on it. Flamethrower, especially for those pesky Steel types. And I want something to pair with Dragapult really well to break the Steel types and the Dark types that want to come in on Dragapult. And so I grabbed a Pokemon I kind of forgot about, and that I think flew under the radar for me especially. It was under tiered. It was only 16 points, and that is Mega Lopunny, a Pokemon with 136 attack and 135 speed. You've already got 2 really fast cleaners. The Pokemon gets really high-powered moves like Close Combat. Return is back in this game. 102 base power stab move. It gets the elemental punches as well as like Iron Tail, which is really fun. It gets Fake Out, Quick Attack. The big one's Triple Axle for the flying types. Because there's a lot of flying types that want to switch in on Lopunny. I'm thinking of like the Elemental Genies in particular. Those are just the first ones that come to mind. Then you got like U-turn, which is always good. I love me some good momentum. And it's got some really niche stuff like, let's see, it gets Healing Wish, which is really funny. Endeavor is pretty good. It gets Encore, which is amazing on a Pokemon this fast. Drain Punch is really good. Like, Lopunny Mega Lop is a Pokemon I've underrated for years, and I'm excited to finally be able to use it. Now, pairing with these 2 Pokemon, I noticed that they're both weak to Fairy. All of the good steals are being scooped up. I was looking at Iron Crown to run back from last season, But I wanted a steel that was not weak to dark because Dragapult already is, and Pursuit's allowed this season. So Iron Crown, Jirachi, Metagross weren't what I was looking for, even though I had experience with all three of them. But I want hazards, especially for Lopunny and Dragapult, to clean up games. So I went with Ferrothorn. It's really good at stopping fairies from what they want to do, because most of them don't have fire type moves, barring like Gardevoir and Sylveon, which got back Mystical Fire. Even then, I can run Akaberry. This thing loves to get hazards and chip stuff down with Iron Barbs and Rocky Helmet. It gets T-Wave for some reason. Leech Seed Protect is a classic set. It just gets some weird stuff. You can run Iron Defense Body Press. Curse Body Press is pretty good because then you power up your Gyro Balls as well. And I love Pokemon. I love my Grass types and my Electric types to be able to beat bulky Water type Pokemon since they're so good. And Ferrothorn's attack doesn't jump out at you at 94, but it's enough to where like Power Whips will be able to defeat opposing Water types. It also gets Knockoff, which is huge. The move pool isn't the best necessarily, but this thing has a roll or two, and it just fills those roles amazingly. I think Ferrothorn will be pretty crucial to the success of this team. Now, pick 4, I picked the Pokemon that I really want to build around. It is a Terra Captain. I believe it was the first or second Terra Capt off the board, so you could say it was a reach, because I don't think it was the best one available. I think Terra Metagross probably mogs the rest of the Terra Captains. But that doesn't matter. I drafted Terra Volcanion. This guy is super cool. I mean, he's bulky. He hits hard on either side of the spectrum. A little slow, but he gets stuff like Flame Charge. The move pool is really cool. Steam Eruption, as you know, is basically 110 base power Scald. It gets Sludge Bomb, Sludge Wave, Earth Power, which with Terra Ground is a classic, because you have Terra Ground Water Absorb with a Fire type moves to hit the Grass types and the Ice types. It gets Flash Cannon, which is decent. The main thing is that it gets Terra Blast, which you can Terra Blast Grass, Terra Blast Electric, and beat the bulky waters and dragons that want to come in. On Volcanion, you can Terra Fairy as well. And it gets some really cool support moves. It gets Taunt, it gets Roar, it also gets Haze and Will-O-Wisp, which are all really nice. Pretty niche, but it's pretty good. It gets Explosion, which is hype. Because it's got good attack. It's got 110 attack. I can run Choice Band Explosion sets. Count me in. I mean, I just really love Volcanion. I think it's one of the more underappreciated mons. With Terra, it was only 12 points, and we have a 20-point Terra budget. So it took up a good chunk of my points, but the max was 15. So I'm still chilling. I've got 8 points left. And Steam Eruption and Will-O-Wisp, all of that is going to be really good for my Dragapult's Hex. And then next up, I picked a Pokemon that, also works really well with Dragapult, and that's Thundurus. Now, what people think Thundurus is a Thunderwave bot, and I see Thundurus as more than that, but honestly, with Dragapult, it kind of wants to spam Thunderwave, Yellow Magic. Other than that, it's got some really cool coverage moves, and that's what I'm saying about all of these Pokemon, but I love versatility in draft. I think it's one of the most important characteristics to me when drafting a Pokemon, and Thundurus has it. Thundurus is another one of those Pokemon where it can be both physically and specially offensive. It's got 111 speed, which is really good, making sure it outspeeds the 110 base speed Pokemon like the Ogerpons, like Latios. Pokemon like that. It gets Prankster Thunderwave, of course, we talked about that. Prankster Bulk Up, Prankster Nasty Plot are all pretty cool because the coverage it gets like Superpower, it gets Grass Knot, Iron Tail, Knockoff, Sludge Wave, Psychic. It's really good. It's an electric type with U-turn, which is really nice because there's a lot of good grounds in the draft. Almost every team is bound to have one, and if you can't Grass Knot it, then you can U-turn on it, which is pretty good. Prankster Taunt is a classic. You can do some weirdo stuff with like Prankster Resto Chesto. I think that's pretty funny. I've seen it once or twice. It's really good with Prankster Defog, especially with Volcanion being weak to rocks now. Also takes away Ferrothorn Spikes, but that's whatever. I think this Pokemon is just gonna... It's kind of my wild card of the team. I think it's the X Factor. If it does well for us, I think the team has the potential to go all the way. If it doesn't perform, then I think the team is kind of in a bad shape. I think Thundurus is one of the Pokemon that's got to be piloted by the right coach, and I think I can be that right coach to pilot Thundurus. Next up, we have Tapu Lele, which was a controversial pick. I'll go out there and say it. It's controversial. I was looking at fairy types. I didn't really like Florges. I didn't really like Sylveon because I couldn't Terra either one of them. And I couldn't Terra Comfey. So I looked up and just used a good amount of my budget because I had a good amount of points left over. I just grabbed Tapu Lele because Lele Pulp was running the meta in Gen 8. I believe it was ladder. And it's got some really cool sets. People always think of it as a choice item bot, but it's a lot more than that. I'm not going to reveal the secret tech, the secret sets, because I know a lot of the people in my division will probably watch this video, and I don't want to reveal any of my secrets, but I'll just say it's got a good move pool, It's got it stabs, it gets Energy Ball, Focus Blast, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt. Pretty basic stuff, but it'll get the job done. You're mainly clicking Psychic moves or Moonblast. I mean, that's the thing it does best. Coming off a whopping base 130 attack stat, this Pokemon just hits like a truck. But it does kind of have an anti-synergy with Thundurus because Psychic Terrain stops all priority moves, and that does include Prankster, unfortunately. Now, I can still run Defiant Thundurus and run Defog and other status moves on it. So that's not too bad because I feel like Defiant Thundurus is pretty underrated. But it also is kind of an anti-synergy with Mega Lopunny because while niche, Lop still wants the option to run Fake Out or Quick Attack, and Lele's Psychic Terrain kind of just cucks that, to be honest, which I don't love, but I would rather have a good Mon that slightly hinders the ability of my other Pokemon than I would a shitty Pokemon that doesn't. And I believe in that. That's my philosophy. I think Tapu Lele is really good, and it was only 14 points, which is kind of a steal. I'm surprised it lasted this long. Next up, I really need a ground type. I really need a rapid spinner because the spinners were doo-doo dog shit after the 13 pointers. And so I grabbed Donphan. It's a Pokemon that I'm pretty neutral about. I don't know how I'm going to like it. It gets some weird stuff, I guess. You'll usually see Rapid Spin, Stealth Rock, Earthquake filler move. But it gets stuff like Endeavor, Ice Shard, Knockoff. It gets a lot of coverage. It gets Superpower, Seed Bomb, Poison Jab, Play Rough, Steel type moves, Fire type moves. Like, it gets a lot of stuff, but unfortunately doesn't really make use of it because the special defense stat is so bad at 60 that you have to put a bunch of EVs in there, so it can't really make use of its attack stat of 120, which is surprisingly good. But you don't really need to put EVs on it for it to hit hard with Earthquake. It mostly thrives as a rapid spammer with heavy duty boots to ensure sturdy is still intact, or it serves as a good lead with usually Endeavor, Rocks, Ice Shard, Earthquake. I don't know how I'm going to use it the most this season, but it's not a bad Pokemon. It's just kind of It's not as flashy, but it'll get the job done. And that's how I feel about the next Pokemon as well. My budget was dwindling, and I needed a Poison, I needed a Dark. It was originally Overqwil, but Overqwil also has a shit special defense stat, and I really couldn't double down on that, even though Overqwil had spikes, which I liked a lot, to take pressure off of Ferrothorn, and it have Intimidate as well. But I instead upgrade to Muk-Alola, which takes special hits a lot better. I need a special wall. Also, Muk-Alola is a dark type with both Pursuit and Knockoff, which is huge. I believe Overqwil doesn't have Ether. The coverage is alright, it's nothing particularly special. It gets decent support moves. Obviously, you got Toxic, Taunt, it gets Memento. Foul Play is pretty cool. It gets Disable, Clear Smog. Curse is also pretty neat on it, as well as Acid Armor. The main thing is it's got two really good abilities. Gluttony. The main one here is Poison Touch, which is really nice because contact moves have a 30% chance of poisoning. And oh wait, we have a Dragapult and Status Spam, and we can just spam Hex. It's really, really nice with Dragapult and the rest of the team. It's also a good Dark Resist, which I don't have. Like, yes, I have Mega Lopunny, but like, come on. That can't be your only Dark Resist. My Fairy doesn't resist Dark. So having one is really nice. The speed tier is a little wonky. That's why I was considering Overqwil in the first place, as both Donphan and Muk have 50 base speed. And lastly, I only had about 4 to 5 points, but I want a second Terra Captain. So we're running Terra Alcremie. It's not the bulkiest thing in the world at base 65 HP, base 75 defense, but it's got 110 special attack, 121 special defense. It can't get taunted, encored, or disabled, all of that stuff. And mainly, I just want a setup threat, because I've seen Alcremie make teams disappear with Acid Armor, Calm Mind, Draining Kiss and Stored Power, or just Acid Armor, Draining Kiss, Recover, that type of stuff, just because the Pokemon's pure attacking stat at 110. So this thing can definitely do some damage, and with Terra, it can Terrastallize into a ground type, and then boom, you have Fairy and Ground Stab, which hits everything for neutral. And other than that, it's got some cool stuff with Encore. It gets Mystical Fire and Shock / Psychic for all of its checks. It gets Recover. The move pool isn't too deep, but it's good enough for the job that it wants to do. It's a sneaky Choice Specs user with Terra Fairy, Draining Kiss, and Alluring Voice with Mystical Fire and Psychic. I'm just excited to use this Pokemon. It's probably not going to come to more than a couple games, but I have a feeling that it's going to surpass all my expectations. And that's your Tropium K's roster for Season 9 Articuno of SPS. Look forward to weekly battles. It's an 8-week season plus playoffs, assuming I make it. So this will last for about 3 months. 3 months of pure golden content. And with that being said, JSauce out.